So obviously the talk of the town is right now with immigration because right now Donald Trump and his border czar, I don't know why they keep using the word czar. This is not the medieval Russian period. His border czar Tom Homan is going down to sanctuary cities and cracking down on criminals, which I fully support. I fully support as someone that is pro-immigrant, as someone that defends the right of people that if they want to immigrate here, they should do it legally. There should be anyone that's convicted of crimes, especially in a situation when they're foreign and they don't have documentation. Then yes, obviously there needs to be some legal repercussion against that they need to be prosecuted and possibly deported. I think that was the biggest mandate that Trump got when it came to the election, that people wanted to see these criminal aliens be detained by ICE or other officials to send them back to their home countries because we just don't need more crime. We don't need this havoc wrecking the streets of a lot of these great towns that have just decimated itself through its horrible policies. So here's just a little bit here. This is from Fox News, I do believe. Yes, this is Fox News. Where they done raids in Boston, one of the sanctuary cities in the northeast part of the United States. And they did this exclusive kind of coverage on just how much this situation is affecting not only just Americans within the cities, but the entire country as a whole. Because as they're flooding these people in, as they open the borders and bring all these people in, where Bernie Sanders once said back in 2016 that this is the Koch brothers, this is the billionaires that want open borders, and that's exactly the point. That's why they want the flooding of illegals going to these towns, raining havoc. They just want total annihilation of these, American cities and streets. But now it's become so politicized and just so outrageously crazy that the most sane solution to this problem is to round people up and deport them. That's the sane solution we should be doing right now. Because everything that we have done to this point has made it worse, has made absolutely worse, and is causing physical destruction of cities. It's also causing financial burden because taxpayers are paying for this. And it's just an absolute mess. All these sanctuary cities are an absolute mess. So here's just some coverage of it.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
So right off the bat, that guy doesn't actually sound Haitian. I'm kind of intrigued by that. But this guy, who they tracked down, they figured out that he was Haitian, has 17 convictions. 17 convictions. And the only reason that he's still in the United States is because sanctuary cities have deterred from law enforcement actually cracking down on these criminals and actually doing something about it. That's the part of the catch and release program, that they would catch this guy in a criminal act, they would prosecute him for crimes, and then just release him. Release him back into the city to cause more crimes. That's why someone who has 17 criminal acts, 17 convictions, still remains in these sanctuary cities and has not been deported, not been investigated, not asked to find their papers and documentation to make sure they are legal citizens. So, let me play that again.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
So that's kind of interesting highlight there. The fact that there's a soundbite of him saying, F Donald Trump, but Thank God for Joe Biden and Barack Obama. They really saved my life. Which, by the way, even though that Joe Biden was the one that flourished a lot of these cities to bring in illegals, not only through the border illegally, but also flying these people in, flying these immigrants into these sanctuary cities. So it's an absolute mess, ladies and gentlemen. And this is all due to the fact, and this is, where the bigger picture is because these open border policies are done by the billionaire class. The billionaires that don't care about sovereignty, they don't care about security, they don't care about individual cities and communities that are affected by this. They want to flood these countries. They want to flood these communities with a bunch of illegals causing crime, causing havoc, so that you're distracted by the illegal activity that's going on in your streets and not be concerned about the billionaire class doing these criminal acts. Because what they're doing is actually human trafficking. What these billionaires are doing is opening the borders to human trafficking, to smuggling people in and exploiting them for cheap labor, for using them for the military, using them for tax-paying purposes, using and abusing them for political power. So this is a giant operation done by people like George Soros, who wrote in 2015 to the UK government and to other governments that, hey, get ready because you're going to have to open your borders and flood people in. Flood them in illegally without any sort of security pass, any sort of documentation, no legal prosecution. Just allow them to flourish your streets and let it go havoc. Which is why this is happening. Why this is the only sane operation. And again, this is coming from someone who is very much pro-immigrant. Because we all came from somewhere. We all came from different areas and came to these countries. We all have a history. And the fact that they undermine the legal process of people coming in legally is just an absolute decimation of our entire borders. And it's a decimation of our nations. Because if we don't have border security, then we don't have nations. We're just one big giant cabal that is being owned and operated by the billionaire class, which is exactly what they want. So let's see the rest of this.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And
you just heard there, a guy that is charged with rape is allowed to go free. He was convicted multiple times of rape, of gang violence, all the worst things imaginable, and they let him go free. Why? Because in a sanctuary city, like Boston, like Chicago, like New York City, like LA, like all these different areas, primarily Democratic cities, sadly, they do the catch and release program where they round these people up, they convict them with their criminal charges, but they don't get deported. And if they are crossing the border illegally to commit these crimes in American cities, then the legal jurisdiction is to deport them. That's what the process should be. But because they had the sanctuary cities where they're getting money and profit from taxpayers to pay for these illegals to rain havoc, they're allowed to do whatever. They come in, all right, do your criminal acts, they get convicted, and then thrown back in. Throw back into society, throw back into the cities. They don't actually prosecute, they don't punish them, they don't have seriously legal obligations to protect these communities, to protect the cities. And this is where a lot of America voted for someone like Trump, who was going to do this. Because they know it wasn't going to happen with Kamala Harris. They know it wasn't going to happen in the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is funded by billionaires. Same with a lot of the Republicans. They're funded by billionaires. The sanctuary city idea actually came from the Republicans. So this is all done by the billionaire class to exploit everybody in this process. And now we're at a point where the most legal, sane thing we can be doing right now is going to these towns and getting them out. That's the only sane thing we could be doing right now. Because these sanctuary cities, this method, getting your tax dollars to pay for this has done nothing but absolute mess to American towns and cities. And especially in Canada too, because we're dealing with the same thing, which is why we as Canadians need to look at border security, why our federal government needs to crack down on this.
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target.
And just a note, because I know so many people, there's celebrities right now, Selena Gomez being one of them, but there's a lot of celebrities that are flocking right now saying like, oh, they're rounding up everybody. They're rounding up the gardeners. They're rounding up individuals that are working at the farms. No, they're going after the criminals. You can see here, they're going after people with a criminal history. That's how they're able to find these people and actually detain them because they committed crimes. And again, coming from someone that is very pro-immigrant, and I don't blame the immigrants coming into here being part of this mess, because there are many of them that, yes, they may have come illegally, but they're not convicting crimes. They're not raping. They're not gang members. And what ICE seems to be doing at this point, and I hope that's what they're continuing to do, is go after the people with criminal history, go after the people with a criminal past. They're not going after the mothers and the children at schools, as some might believe. So I'm hoping that this continues on. I'm hoping this is the case. But we don't know. We don't know, because we have seen ICE abuse their powers. We know that the United States, who creates these problems, the reason we have this situation is because the United States allowed it. And now they're going to resort to solving their problems. You know, just like how we're going to resolve terrorism after we create more terrorism. So I hope, that's the only thing I have is hope, that this would actually resort to better measures, but it's one of those wait and see things. Because who knows what could happen if they extend it. Who knows?
Was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
So it seems to be they're going after the criminally convicted. It seems that what's the case. It seems like that what's Tom Homan's agenda is to look at people that have been criminally convicted numerous times, that are living in these sanctuary cities, that are getting away from the laws and being excused from criminal punishment because they're in these sanctuary cities. That's part of the catch and release program, that he's going after these people. He's looking through criminal records and saying, oh, this guy's convicted of so-and-so. We need to find this guy and arrest him in accordance to that. But also, he's an illegal alien. He has no documentation. And that also puts in perspective of why they need to be deported. And that is hopefully what ICE is doing in this. Like I said, we don't know exactly how this is going to turn out. We know, the United States, they have this power and responsibility. They tend to abuse it. So hopefully, that this is what they're doing. We hope that's the case, but we can only wait and see. This is brought to you by Ground News, the versatile news app and website that gathers all the world's media on one place and allows users to compare coverage. Ground News gives you the access of thousands of sources worldwide, allows you to see the media blind spots, and even gives analysis on the bias and factuality of those stories. Weave your way through the mainstream narratives, the corporate lies, and have total access to find complete information that you deserve. Click on the link below and get 15% off a subscription. Be critical, be informed, be ground.